Welcome back to the Weekend Debate. We're sort of touching on the Arts Council in section 2. You're the man, you're the go-to man. How do you get on it, first of all? And why did you do it? Because, you know, you've got enough things going on in your life by the sounds of it. You felt you want to put back here?
I had my arm twisted. So Dave Armstrong used to be on the Arts Council. He's a filmmaker on the island.
He was with us last week, yeah.
Who I've worked with. He was on the Arts Council and he was stepping down because he was getting busier and busier. Twisted my arm and said, look, if I go, then there's going to be no film representative on the Arts Council, so will you step up and do it? And so I went through the application process and was accepted on to be able to try and help them out.
What did you find there? For the film side of things, where are we? Because we sort of touched on it last week, but I mean, we've got a new panel here, and I'd love your thoughts on where we are, where we're going. Did we not miss the Netflix thing? It was too early. You remember all these films, obviously, you said.
There used to be a fairly good film industry here. There was government investment into Pinewood Studios development, and that apparently lost money, and as I said, there's a public accounts committee and an investigation into that. I think it was something that you touched on earlier about people coming to the island. You can count the pure investment into a feature film and say, well, we put this much in, and the returns were this. But in terms of the benefit to the economy and the people coming to the island to actually shoot and be in hotel rooms and go out to bars and paying for food and paying local tradesmen to be able to make sets and costumes and local people getting involved and training, then I don't know that economic cost was really counted against those very specific, accountancy losses on the actual film.
It's always been a muddle, hasn't it? But what exactly went on with the film industry, making money by, as you say, bringing people and money into the Isle of Man, but we never got the blockbuster. That was probably the biggest problem, wasn't it? We never found that film franchise that was going to make us like the Games of Thrones or something.
So you have to start smaller than Game of Thrones, and certainly Northern Ireland had a very a good sort of base to be able to start from, and they did very well with that. But we were attracting the likes of Bollywood stars to come over and visit and look at locations, but there wasn't the investment either from the government or from private individuals to really persuade them to come here and make the films.
Opportunity missed, Kerry?
Possibly so. I think that, I know that when I was making programmes, that it's always the cost of how do you get somewhere. You've got so many people, you've got so much crew, you've got so much equipment. I think maybe more needs to be made of the transport to the Isle of Man issue and the cost of that. And if that can somehow be lowered, then why wouldn't you get people coming here to film? Because we've got such great locations.
Situation as well, Gary. We have fantastic locations. We've got beaches, we've got Norman castles, we've got fishing villages, we've got incredible countryside, all within 30 miles. And the chicken and egg situation is, but if there were companies, if there were a film industry here that started to get going, then companies would come here and they would base kit here so that it could be hired out by people coming here to make films. So there is always that sort of argument, which is sort of like, but you have to bring everything over. Well, yeah, but if you're making stuff here, then people take the opportunity, and they will become the entrepreneurs that will set up a camera hire company or a lighting hire company on the Isle of Man, and they'll store that kit here.
People will go places as well, because I remember when I used to be editing, instead of going into central London in the sort of later 1990s, the big thing started to be, this place is open called The Farm, or this place is open called, it's outside of London, and you travel there and you're in a nice countryside setting, and it's all much more relaxing, and you do your editing there, and sometimes you can stay overnight, you can say, right, we'll stay here for a week and we'll get it done. I can see that the Isle of Man could be the ideal place to do that sort of thing. You know, you could promote it as a really great creative place to come and do.
Well, we do have a film
business.
studio, so I mean, because that was half the trouble, wasn't it? Having an actual building, a physical thing. But up in Ramsey, that came online, but they're using
Mountain View.
Mountain View, but they're using it for other things most of the time. But it is there still.
Yeah, it is there. Yeah.
Sorry, Nathan, would you like to work in films, or would it be an opportunity you think would be something we'd be interested?
I think films side would be really interesting to have a look at, but we haven't. I've never again seen any experience or been able to be put into contact with anyone who's in the film industry, so none of us would know how to contact anyone.
Because years ago, outside in Peel, there was the Isle of Man sponsor thing. Can you remember it was the media school or something? In fact, people did get through that and have gone on to get careers in that. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, as you said, then it's not really a thing anymore. Like nothing. We don't have anything like that to try and help us out. So we're just a bit stuck, really.
The thing here is, I think most of the public just want something that says Isle of Man on it. Like Waking Ned was the biggest film, but it's set in Ireland, wasn't it? Jersey got Bergerac, and we got Baz Bozo or something. They tried on that. Do you know? No, it was a pilot. Very low end pilot.
I don't remember that. But it's not to be said, what we need is a Bergerac, you know, to sort of showcase the island.
Why? I mean, I know why. Because they go wherever it's cheapest, don't they? The tax breaks and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, there are tax breaks, and that's something that that we can't do here because of the tax regime on the island. So it's that is difficult. And the tax breaks are there in various European regions, in Puglia, in Ireland, but there are other reasons that people could come here, and we have to try and make the island more attractive. But
the film industry is notorious for going where the buck goes further. I mean, in America, they all used to film anyway. In Canada, didn't they? Really, that was the go-to place for most filming. If it involved scenery and things like that, I suppose it looked like America. It kind of had all things.
And Canada were doing the tax breaks thing as well. But there are still movies that are made in the UK and that are made in America as well on the studios there.
So, crystal ball for us. I mean, you got all these studios being built and swallowed up by Netflix and Prime, all wanting all the space. They're buying everyone out almost. Is there any way the Isle of Man can get a bite of that cherry, apple, whatever the right word is for that?
Yeah, well, they're turning the old Littlewoods building into a film studio in Liverpool. So I think maybe if the will was there in the new administration that we'll be getting after the election, then they should be talking to the Liverpool Film Office and trying to make connections there about how we can bring some of that capacity over to the island.
Well, Kerry, are you going to try again with your rationalising the way the money's spent here on the Isle of Man, so other people can this is a public service programme in all true effect, isn't it? I mean, this
not
sort of thing.
Not in the purest sense.
Well, there's no money involved in it from me point of view. I do
not
this,
in the purest sense.
You know what I mean?
But you are providing a public service. Yes, you are.
Okay, that came across now. I'm looking for money, but it wasn't quite like that.
No,
I was just trying to say that other people can do things, and are you going to have another go at it?
Well, yeah, I am. The time hasn't been right yet, but with the new administration coming in, I would hope that that maybe there might be more people who get what it's all about. I mean, last time I brought it forward, there was an increase in the number of Tynwald members who were in agreement. So, I would be hopeful that if I could try to explain a bit better and
think
just
that's where it fell down. You didn't.
Drum.
They didn't explain it enough.
Well, there could be some truth in that, but also there were members who were purposely trying to derail my argument by constantly bringing it back to, well, my constituents don't want to see Manx Radio closed down, which is not what I was saying. It was nothing to do with that. I'd never even mentioned the words Manx Radio, but they kept going on about it because they're just trying to derail the whole thing.
I think maybe Manx Radio thought you were after them as well. They did presentations themselves to the government, didn't they? And all that sort of thing?
But I think once they'd heard me speak on the floor of Tynwald, I don't think that they thought I was trying to derail them anymore. That they did understand that what I was talking about was media, in very, very broad terms, that I wasn't talking about them just personally.
So, any sort of tweaks you're going to make to what you did last time, or will it be the same thing, just explained better?
Yeah, I mean, I think motivating the idea of what public service media is all about, and how it relates to democracy, and how when there have been numerous surveys looking at people's sense of happiness and well-being within the democracies they live in, and the ones where they've got the strongest public service media are the ones where people feel, they report feeling happiest because they feel like they're making informed choices when it comes to elections and things like that, because they understand what's going on. They've had a chance to grill politicians themselves, on radio shows or whatever it is, So it's all good, it's all good. But you know what Jeremy was just talking about, maybe talking to the Liverpool studios in future and seeing how Isle of Man could maybe fit in with that. These are kind of small seeds that could start off in the Isle of Man. They could grow into all sorts of things.
What about simple things like getting House Keys and Tynwald televised, for instance? Doesn't that absolutely scream of being a public service remit? Again, I'm not looking for the gig, but I have done in the past. But
I don't know who the audience would be.
But does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. Kerry, it shouldn't matter. It should not matter, because public service is all about delivering something. Not on number clicks, surely.
And it would be so easy to do. It would be so easy to do. I mean, we have recordings, we're recorded anyway, we're broadcast anyway. It would be so easy. So far, various administrations have not been keen on the idea of being filmed.
Well, we broke it.
The new one might be. The new one might be.
Do you know how I got in there to film? Because I was one pushing for it. It was a bit difficult. There was always a reason not. And then the day I went to a meeting and said, "Well, Jersey started last week." Well, suddenly it was all okay. Is that funny that? Because it was like, well, we better get on with it then. And I think it's been interesting.
If it's available as a public record, then the various interest groups who have brought questions to Tynwald, such as the debate on ME the other day, then they would want to go back and watch that debate on television.
And it could be broken down into clips so that people could find the bits
bite size for you, Nathan,
to listen to.
How long's your attention? 3 minutes on videos into that?
So it varies depending on what it's about, really. If it was interesting, then I can sit there for quite a while probably. But
I was being a bit facetious about that, but it's true though, isn't it? That's why TikTok's doing what it's doing, isn't it? Because it's such small quantities of video.
Yeah, it's just very simple, there's nothing complicated about it. It's just says it sometimes people can go off on one about it, but a lot of the time it's very simple. You don't have to read or sit there for ages and watch it. It's just very quick and
but that's why it works.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, so it's
And any interaction with the government. I mean, do you know who the Chief Minister is? I mean, do people at school even know anything about who their local MHKs are? Anything?
I think until COVID, we didn't know I don't know who the health minister was until COVID. I mean, Chief Minister, we knew his name, we didn't know what he looked like. None of us know a lot about who half the people are. I mean, it's only been recently that we've all picked up on that's David Ashford or that's Howard Quayle.
Yeah. And now Takeover TV's doing such a great job of making things look quite interesting. Have you seen the Takeover TV stuff? It's really interesting, isn't it? That's students, because they say they're students, but no one knows who they are. It's nothing to do with me, by the way.
It's interesting that it has come up, and if it gets younger people more interested in politics, then that's all great.
I think you've arrived when you get. It's like Spitting Image. I think I've used that before. That when you get on the shows like that, you've arrived. I mean, Chris Robert Shaw thinks it's hilarious that he's Alan Partridge. And have you seen them as well?
I haven't.
What's this? It's great because they're taking clips of audio and they're putting it to the real people's faces, and they're using these computer things to make them lip sync and everything.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay, right.
But that, of course, that's the technical side of it. But they're actually making very good bit of content. It's really quite funny, isn't it?
And it shows engagement. It does show engagement with what's going on.
Yeah. Have you watched any of that at all?
No, I haven't seen any of that.
Right. No, that's interesting because that should have been the target market. I'll look out for it. It's on Instagram is where I see it. I get quite featured, but someone's going through stuff and really making a really good job of it, and it's students. Anyway, we're probably wrapping this up now. Would you ever want to be in MHK? Would you ever want to be in government?
Not. It doesn't really interest me too much about this sort of side of it anyway. I mean, over the last couple of years, I've picked up on it more, but I'm not really that interested in it, so it wouldn't really appeal to me the same.
You haven't been to Tynwald or anything like that. We'll take you down there. You have to come in and see it. I think it's really important. It should be mandatory almost, shouldn't it?
I think so. I think also what will help is the Youth Parliament, which was an idea which had full support from Tynwald. It was going to be set up by some members of the public, and I think there's been a slight stalling around that, but it does have the full support of Tynwald. And I think Youth Parliament, along the same lines as what they have in Scotland, where all children, from the start of school, can feed into it. I mean, I think Junior Tynwald is absolutely fantastic, but to me, I think it only appeals to children who've got the confidence to do public speaking, and it's certainly not something that I would have got involved with when I was at school. But I think Youth Parliament is something that all children can feed into, and I think that will help to encourage interest in what's going on. And I think another thing that could happen is that both government and Parliament, that is Tynwald, could do a lot more in terms of being proactive about how they engage with young people and the rest of the public, really. It's a sign of a healthy democracy when you've got a Parliament that actually goes out to say, look what we're doing, And I don't think that we're not yet there, We're still kind of coming out of that phase where people feel that things are done to them rather than feeling like they've got a say in the matter. And I think that to me is something else I'd like to pursue in future.
And I have to ask you happy being an MLC, or you got Kate Brennan's got the idea, or she'd like to now be an MHK. Have you got any inklings in that way?
No, not at the moment. I think I'm very happy where I am. If I ever felt that Garth was not receiving proper representation, then I would step forward. If there was no one else, who was going, because I would feel that I could serve the people of Garth because I understand the workings of Parliament now. But certainly at the moment, I've got no plans at all to stand as an MHK.
Okay, famous last words.
Good luck to Kate.
Who would you like to be the next Chief Minister?
That's a question, isn't it?
That's what we do at the end of interviews. You just throw these ones in.
Yeah. Who have we got in the running? I think Dr. Allison's come forward and put his hat into the ring.
Yeah, and obviously
David Ashford.
No, he says no.
He says no.
He says no. But never ever believe a. No, I'm joking, David.
I don't know. I don't know whether has Alf Cannon officially said. I don't think he has officially said. So far, Alex is the only one who's officially said that he would. Who
would you like then? Let's change the question slightly.
Well, it's I'm not diving the issue, but as a member of Legislative Council, we are indirectly elected. So obviously it's not up to us; it's up to the directly elected.
So you're not going to answer it, but let me ask this one: who would you like to be president? Come on, now you do have a say in that one. Who do you want to be president? I'm getting really naughty now.
I believe that Duane Watterson has said very publicly that he would like to be next president.
Yeah.
He's obviously got years of experience.
Lawrence
Skelly has officially announced, has he?
Yeah. Let's pose between those two. Go on, let's just have a game. Which one? But which one you want to vote for?
They are very different personalities, aren't they? Very different personalities, I would say. And I think that each one would bring their own qualities to the role.
Oh, so it's a politician's answer.
It's true.
Come on, you're going to have to vote for one. You're going to have to put your name to it.
And I certainly will.
Will you not do it publicly to me now?
When the time is right. I have yet to sit down with both of them and ask them in detail, specifically actually, about where they would stand in terms of Parliament increasing its engagement with the public, because that's something that I think that Parliament, it would have to go to government to get the funding for it, but I think Parliament should be doing a lot more to promote why it's there in the first place. Okay. So I'll be talking to both of them in more depth. And we'll see. Okay. We'll see what they've got to say.
See, that's what you do. You just put those questions in right there. Jeremy? Do you want to be an MHK? Do you want to be president? Do you want to be anything?
I certainly don't want to be an MHK. That doesn't really. My skill set isn't really there, and I wouldn't have a clue about what the role of president involves. So that's not something that I do either. In terms of chief minister, I mean, we don't get a say in it, but I think it'd be interesting to shake things up and to have a woman as chief minister. Maybe Claire Christian will put herself forward if she's elected again.
Yeah, but don't you think you need to do one full session, to get there, be a minister? I mean, I think Claire Barber's one that keeps coming up as well.
Does she?
Both Claires, there you go.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You don't want to be, as you said, that, but would you even know who the president is now or anything like that? I
don't even know there was like a president of that side of it.
There you go. And that really finishes. We've got to do more here, don't you think? There's got to be more. I mean, it's what's come out of this today.
And Parliament and government have to take responsibility
with the younger people, so they know about this.
Well, watch us here. We'll tell you everything about it. Thank you very much for joining us. If you fancy being on as a guest, please get in touch. And if you've got any other ideas, we're always welcome to hear from you. Thank you for watching.